This is NHTV2, North Haven Government Television, a service of North Haven Community Television. The following program is brought to you through the support of the Town of North Haven.
Good evening and welcome to the March 2021 meeting of the Board of Police Commissioners for the Town of North Haven. My name is Larry Lazoff, Chairman. To my left is Robin Wilson, Vice Chairman. To my right is Markella Fiore, Secretary. Alden Mead, Commissioner. And Bob Hannon, Commissioner. Tonight we have the opportunity to swear in a new police officer who will be attending the Academy shortly. So it's with great pleasure. We take these things very, very seriously. We've selected a nice man to come in here today, and I'm going to ask Commissioner Mead to do the swearing-in ceremony. So Commissioner Mead, Stephen Nowak, please step up. Novak, I'm sorry.
And you're welcome to, you want to get up now.
You can stand here. We all set?
Perfect. We're perfect.
Now, what you have to do, and you might want to face the camera a little more, so we'll get more than just your brother's snapshot. And so, if you raise your right hand, and then repeat after me. I solemnly swear that
I solemnly swear that
I will bear true faith and allegiance to
I will bear true faith and allegiance to
the United States of America and the state of Connecticut,
the United States of America and the state of Connecticut,
and will support the Constitution thereof,
and will support the Constitution thereof,
and I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform all duties incumbent upon me as a police officer of the town of North Haven.
all duties
Incumbent upon me.
as a police officer of the town of North Haven.
I agree to obey and be bound
I agree to obey and be bound
by such rules and regulations as are or may be made
as are or be made
from time to time established by the Board of Police Commissioners.
from time to time established as from the Board of Police Commissioners.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Double vaccinated, so don't worry about you. Thank you.
Well done.
I'm not double vaccinated. It's my.
Okay, with that, we're going to take a short recess from the public section of this. Oh, I'm sorry. Wow. Okay, we're going to pin the badge now, excuse me. We're calling upon Stephen's brother
Yeah.
to do the pinning.
What's your name? What's Stephen's brother's name?
I don't know. I got it, Peg.
All right.
Excellent. All right, thanks. Okay, now we'll take a short recess and be back shortly. Okay, so we are back now into regular session after that ceremony for Patrolman Stephen Novak. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the February 23rd, 2021 meeting, both regular and executive sessions?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Mr. Secretary, any correspondences?
We have one piece of correspondence, Mr. Chairman. This is from Mr. Charles Sherwood. He's the director of the South Central Criminal Justice Administration in New Haven, testing agency for the PDs, and he's directing a letter to Chief Kevin Glenn, thanking the chief for allowing one of his officers, or captain I should say, one of his captains, Captain Andrew Stavridis, and he served as a panelist. So Mr. Sherwood thanks you for allowing that to happen, and that is it.
That's it, okay. For Chairman's report, I just want to remind people, as I do every month, to please lock your cars, your homes, your sheds, We still have a situation where, like most communities do, where people are going through cars and most of them are unlocked. I'd also like to remind you that now the weather is getting nicer, and I leave fairly early in the morning to go to work, that there are a lot of walkers out there, and after school now with bikers. So please be careful when you're driving around, because there are a lot more people jogging, walking, riding their bikes. The chief, I'm sure, will go into the calls of service rep a little bit, so we'll get into more detail about that. Maybe the deputy will also give us an update on the CLIA assessment. And I don't have much, but I wanted to make it clear that this board supports the SRO program in this community 100%. We feel that the SRO program in these schools is beneficial not only for security, but for peace of mind for these children, the staff members, and the visitors of the school. So I know what goes on in Hartford may be concerning to some people, but we do support the SRO program in North Haven. I think I speak for everybody here on this board on that.
Yes, you certainly do. Yeah, if I can just piggyback on that and just echo your sentiments, Larry, but yeah, the SRO program has been very well received here in North Haven. It's very popular among the staff, the students, the parents, and they do a great job here. The 5 SROs, or 6 I think, with the high school. They integrate well with the kids. Mm-hmm. And they're not there to, just so the public knows, the SROs, they're really not there to discipline the kids. They're there for safety, and they blend in well. They integrate with the with the staff and the rest of the kids, and some of them actually even dress up during holidays, and I applaud that, the officers that do that. Mm-hmm. And the 1 or 2 do in particular during Christmas or Easter. They
Mm-hmm.
throw a little costume on her.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's nice. It's just it's a nice program, and it works out well, and I think it's very popular. So
we stand behind it.
We definitely stand behind the SRO program and the officers here.
Okay. Any other comments about that?
No, I'm in full
Okay.
agreement. The feedback that I've gotten from the parents
Mm-hmm.
who have the kids in the schools is that the SROs are a wonderful resource, and the kids really do lean on them from time to time and enjoy seeing them there every day.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Yeah. And we have particularly good ones also.
We have the best.
We have the best.
Okay, that being said, I'll turn it over to the chief. The chief's report, please.
Thank you. I'd like to start by congratulating Stephen Novak for being sworn in this evening. I think the board made a great selection with him, and he's going to fit in well. We'll begin employment tomorrow morning here at the department until he leaves for the Milford Police Academy on April 15th. After spending 6 months in the academy, he'll return back here for 3 months of field training. Later this evening, we'll be interviewing a few people for a potential recruit. This is in anticipation of an opening in June of this year. We've secured a seat at the Post Academy that begins in June. In our budget report, our budget is currently at 69.4% expended. This is about 3.5% under our self-imposed limits, and there's only 7 pay periods left in this fiscal year, so we're in really good shape at this point. As you know, the 21-22 budget request presentation was made at the February 17th budget workshop. The Board of Finance reduced my request of 4 vehicles down to 3 vehicles, and all the other line items at this point have stayed the same. There's going to be a virtual town meeting on April 7th at 7 o'clock at night. This is to present the budget. Mr. Frieda will present the town side budget, and the superintendent will present the Board of Education budget. And there will be a referendum scheduled in May. If any commissioners have any questions about the budget, either this fiscal year or the requests that were made?
No.
Okay. Under our traffic report, we're still waiting to hear from the state whether they are going to approve speed limits for Cloudland, Fortune Drive, and Horseshoe Hill. Once we hear back from them, we'll post those signs as they were voted on by the board back in January. The DOT horizontal alignment signage project was submitted to the state for approval. Sergeant D. Pascal identified roadways in town that we believe are applicable for that project. It's extra signage that just indicates curves ahead and some line painting in the roadway. If the state approves those locations, I'll bring that list back to the board for your final approval, whether you want the signs installed or not. DOT also wants to evaluate any municipally owned and maintained traffic signals. A study was done indicating that if the proper yellow to red transition isn't timed right, it can lead to increased accidents. So we provided them a list of all the town-owned signals. They're going to do a study on that and make recommendations, and I'll bring those recommendations in front of you.
Approximately how many is that, anyway?
If you look, I think I have
And
that.
if you don't know, I can get back to you.
16.
Okay.
16 lights. And the 3 new vehicles to round out the traffic report that we purchased this fiscal year and installed the equipment and outfitted, they are all in service, or fleet is in good shape. An update in regards to FEMA. We recently submitted a reimbursement request for overtime as it relates to sicknesses with COVID as well as exposures to COVID. The request is just over $25,000, so they'll be evaluating that request. That money came right out of our operating budget overtime account, so it'd be nice to be able to recoup that money.
That takes months though, right, before you hear back?
Seven months.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be anytime soon. And it's not gonna be put back in the overtime budget. We'll go back to the general fund.
Gotcha.
I had a conference call with FEMA today regarding possible reimbursement for overtime costs as it relates to the August 4th storm. And that's overtime costs for the extra staffing during the actual storm, as well as the traffic control that we staffed for weeks after the storm as Town Highway collected debris from the side of the road. That's just a little over $8,000 at this point. This past weekend, we responded to a restaurant on Middletown Avenue for a report of a stabbing. After an altercation inside or outside the restaurant, depending on who you listen to, a New Haven man was stabbed in the leg. It was not life-threatening, but it was significant. At this time, the victim has been uncooperative so far, so for anyone watching at home, if there's any witnesses to that incident, we ask that you come forward. You can remain anonymous. You can call us or come to the police department. We recently arrested a 17-year-old juvenile for a carjacking that occurred in November of last year. The juvenile used a firearm to strike the victim in the head several times before taking his vehicle. He's also wanted by several other agencies for violent crimes. At this time, and so far, he's off the street. He's locked up in juvenile detention for now. And to give some perspective on the year-to-date numbers for some stats. So far, year-to-date, this year, we've had 5 robberies compared to just 1 last year. We've had 5 overdoses compared to just 2 last year. 31 vehicle burglaries compared to 16. As the chair said, the vast majority, if not all of them, were unlocked vehicles. We've had 20 stolen cars raided this year compared to just 4 last year. Again, not only unlocked, but the keys are in the car. Sometimes they're warming up in the driveway, either early morning or in a gas station parking lot, just left running and unlocked. Our calls for service year-to-date are up by 775 incidents so far year-to-date. And it's actually proportionately more than that if you consider, because of COVID reasons, we're stopping much less vehicles. So this has been a very busy year, not only for crime, but for calls for service in general. Also, we spoke earlier about the increase in how many vehicles are failing to stop for us when officers are trying to conduct motor vehicle stops. We've seen a dramatic increase in vehicles fleeing. There were 2 just yesterday during the day shift. Typically the cars are either stolen or license plates don't come back to the owner, so it's very hard to follow up, but we've seen a major increase in that. For the Benary Scholarship, I have 2 requests tonight for consideration. 1 class for Officer Rich DePalma and 1 class for Officer Alex Sinanis for consideration.
Do I have a motion to grant?
I make that motion.
Okay.
To accept the
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
I just have a few personnel matters for executive session as well as interviews.
Okay. Short meeting. Anything else anybody would like to add? Comments? No? Okay.
No, I think, I'll just make a comment
Sure.
about the scholarships. I think it's wonderful that we have this available and that we've been able to basically give it to anybody that's asked for it so they can further any of their educational needs.
Yeah, it's been going on for years and years, too.
Yeah, and it's maintained itself.
Yeah. Oh, with that, Can I have a motion to adjourn from regular session to go into executive session for personnel matters?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Okay, so we are back into regular session of our meeting after just coming out of executive session where we had interviews for an opening potentially. Do I have a motion?
Okay, I move that we make a motion to make a conditional offer to Michael Hopkins. And if for any reason, if Mr. Hopkins does not fulfill the conditions of the offer, then we will make a conditional offer to Richard Nacarado.
Okay. All in favor?
It was a
Second.
Sorry, second.
Second it?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Anything else for discussion? So with that, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Easter and happy Passover. Be safe, lock your cars, and good night.
The preceding program is brought to you in part through a grant from the town of North Haven. Watch town meetings or other videos on demand at nhtv.com.